Stop letting your night be defined by trips to the bathroom. Waking up 3 or 4 times a night isn't just getting older, it's a wake-up call. Reclaim your flow and your freedom with McDowell Prostate Health. Specially formulated for men over 40, our premium herbal formula targets weak flow and frequent interruptions before they sideline your life. Don't just manage the symptoms, stay ahead of them. Get back the confidence of a full night's sleep and the strength of a healthy flow. Feel like yourself again. Pick up McDowell's Prostate Health at Health Services Center, pharmacies, or order online at mcdowellproducts.com.
Rediscover your rhythm. Life is meant to be enjoyed. Morning walks, time with loved ones, and moving freely without constant discomfort. But when joint and muscle pains slow you down, even the simple moments can feel like a challenge. That's where McDowell's Pain Complex comes in. Formulated to support joint comfort and mobility, McDowell's Pain Complex helps you get back to the life you love, step by step, day by day. Move easier, feel better, live fully. McDowellsProducts.com. McDowell's Pain Complex. Rediscover your rhythm. Now available at all leading pharmacies and at Health Service Center upstairs the Napa Building on the John Compton Highway.
The man, the voice. Your hero is back. Raw facts, no fluffs. Shelton Daniel is here to deal with the issues. Big issues. 12:30 p.m. to 2 p.m. Monday to Friday on Real FM.
Stop letting your night be defined by trips to the bathroom. Waking up 3 or 4 times a night isn't just getting older, it's a wake-up call. Reclaim your flow and your freedom with McDowell Prostate Health. Specially formulated for men over 40, our premium herbal formula targets weak flow and frequent interruptions before they sideline your life. Don't just manage the symptoms, stay ahead of them. Get back the confidence of a full night's sleep and the strength of a healthy flow. Feel like yourself again. Pick up McDowell's Prostate Health at Health Services Center, pharmacies, or order online at mcdowellproducts.com.
Rediscover your rhythm. Life is meant to be enjoyed. Morning walks, time with loved ones, and moving freely without constant discomfort. But when joint and muscle pains slow you down, even the simple moments can feel like a challenge. That's where McDowell's Pain Complex comes in. Formulated to support joint comfort and mobility, McDowell's Pain Complex helps you get back to the life you love, step by step, day by day. Move easier, feel better, live fully. McDowellsProducts.com. McDowell's Pain Complex. Rediscover your rhythm. Now available at all leading pharmacies and at Health Service Center upstairs the Napa Building on the John Compton Highway.
The man, the voice. Your hero is back. Raw facts, no fluffs. Shelton Daniel is here to deal with the issues. Big issues. 12:30 p.m. to 2 p.m. Monday to Friday on Real FM. The man.
Another wonderful Wednesday afternoon to you, everyone. Welcome once again to The Real Issues with me, Shelton Daniel, your host and producer. It is Wednesday, the 8th of April, 2026. Our program, as you know, airs weekdays from 12:30 until 2 p.m. on the radio station, Real FM, that serves you on the dual frequencies, 91.3 megahertz for the northern part of St. Lucia and 91.5 for the south. We're also simulcasting on NBC Television, channel 120 on the Flow Cable TV service. We are on Facebook Live and also on YouTube live streaming. My apologies for yesterday. I won't say much about this except to say I was put in a situation which forced me to realize that my one-time regular bottle of Sheeny 12 that I would normally keep around for such occasions, that I decided I was going to see if I could do without it. And I did do without it for a long time until the main reason why we keep some Sheeny 12 around, if you're from the countryside or raised in the countryside, that it arose on me. And it was only then I realized that I'd allowed the bottle to dry. And so probably threw it away. It was absolutely no use to me at the time. It's pretty strong stuff, isn't it? And if you tell yourself that you're getting older, so you want to spare whatever it is that kind of strong stuff side effects can have on you, I said better I do without it, because from the time I'm a young man, my mother used to complain about me that she couldn't keep her Sheeny 12 for when it was needed, because either I used to have bellyache a lot more often than anyone could have it, or I just felt, the little love of the bitter thing and the strong thing it came with, that I was going to be sampling in it continuously, but I didn't have the Sheeny 12. So that accounted for my not being here. So to my regular supplier, who used to once be my regular supplier, it's quite a time that I haven't had any. I'll be checking you out for another bottle, as how do we say that in the countryside Creole? Pose or lot bouteille, Sheeny 12 bomb. I wouldn't say the other part of the Sheeny 12. It's something ex Sheeny 12. But I'm not going to tell you what it is. But I'm doing okay now. I have guests today. I've been advertising them, I think, for a couple of weeks now. They were supposed to be with me last week, exactly, Wednesday last week. But for various reasons, they've had to reschedule and postpone. And so here they are today. Even then, there's been some tweaking of those who were supposed to be part of, if I may call it, the panel. But I have two very capable persons here with me, I'm sure. And so we'll be chatting with them. They are members of the Civil Service Association, the CSA, that are vying for election later this month. I think the exact date is Wednesday the 29th of April, that they're vying for election to comprise the CSA executive for the next 2 years. They call that the biennium, isn't that what it is? Yeah, the biennium. It's every 2 years that they have elections. So a CSA executive is in place for 2 years until they elect another one, which maybe have some fresh faces, which will be entirely new, or which may be, that they're so happy with those that they have, that they might vote them in again, and you might have a virtually unchanged executive. Of course, there are a few little exceptions of rotation, but if we need clarification on that, we'll be told. I'm happy that I have guests today. It'll prevent me from going into some things that I normally would go into as part of my preamble. But I'm not going to have a preamble today. I'm just going to go straight to my guest. And to my extreme left, we have the man who's going up for first vice president on the 29th. His name is Lindell James. And I believe he is part of Customs and Excise. All right, so the Civil Service Association, as its name suggests, tends to represent people who are part of the civil service, the public service, maybe persons who are part of statutory bodies, but that's not what's important now. CSA has been around long enough for us to know. So good afternoon to you, Lindell, and welcome to The Real Issues.
Good afternoon, Shelton. Thank you for having me.
Okay.
Good afternoon, listeners, viewers.
And the man who's vying to bat one down after Lindell as the second vice president of the CSA, Andrew Charles. Yes, Mr. Andrew Charles.
Infrastructure South.
Is that?
From Infrastructure South.
Okay, he's from the Ministry or the Department of Infrastructure in the South. So let me say good afternoon also to Andrew. Gentlemen, as you look forward to the elections on the 29th of this month, almost we can say one day before the last day of the month and so on. What are you feeling right now? Excitement, apprehension, you're looking forward to it and so on? Has either of you been part of the executive before now, or is it your first shot at it?
Good afternoon, viewers. My name is Andrew.
seeking re-election, and you are a member of a team, so I think that to mean a vote of confidence in her, in her leadership and in the union. Maybe not, but I'm just saying a lot of people would take it that way. So tell us about the CSA team you're a part of, would like to take the CSA moving forward. It has had its challenges for sure. It has had its not so wonderful moments. But tell us about, the vision for taking the CSA forward.
The one team was born out of what exists currently. You would find that there are a lot of persons that don't really know how the executive operates. The executive operates on a majority vote basis. And that would have meant that the normal thing was to vie for election as an individual. And of course, persons with different ideologies, probably not ironed out, would have formed the executive and then try to come together after that. The vision of the one team is to come together before we go into the actual election. So we've ironed out all the differences that we've had, and of course we try to focus on the issues that our members would want us to focus on. So that was the birth of the one team. The president did not get a lot done. Again, because of the way things work on the majority vote, there were a lot of things that she wanted to get done and couldn't have gotten it done. I believe her intentions are really good. Some of our manifesto, which was launched today, we're looking at issues like the building, our insurance, outreach to members. All of that were very important at this time.
All right, gentlemen, the CSA, as I said, it has had its challenges for sure. I guess every organization has its challenges at one time or another. One time it seemed as if the CSA was going to break apart, and maybe in a sense, in a manner of speaking, they did break apart. The deep polarizations that existed, like it was an organization at war with itself. Clearly some people who came in and managed to, whether we call it lobbying, whether we call it whatever they did, but they worked themselves to the leadership of the CSA and were effective at blocking any others. It's not that I want to go into that, but just tell me, how much do you all feel as persons vying to be part of the leadership of the CSA now? How well do you think the CSA has done to come, out of those years, which a decade ago were in full swing, maybe before that and so on? Has the CSA been able to claw its way out of that period, would you say? I'm asking this question, I want to let you all understand why, because from time to time I still see online, certain statements being made and accusations and allegations, like there still seems to be some internal sniping. Now granted, no organization is ever going to be without disagreement, without people who feel this person is there, should not be there, and continuously there will be gripes and grudges and so on. But I just want to ask you for your own opinion on how the CSA has moved forward from the days when it seemed like it was being torn apart from inside.
But I would think that we still have quite a bit of work to do at the CSC. One of the things I experienced while going around talking to members is that members do not feel connected to the CSC. You have young members who more than likely just want to go on a phone or probably head to a Facebook page or a website to get information. And a lot of that is lacking. There are some members who tell you that they pay their fees like everybody else and they do not see any interference from the CSC apart from just the collective agreement for central service and other areas. If you look at our building right now, our building is in a very bad state. I mean, we can remember weddings and events being held there. But nothing of this sort is happening now. So clearly, we're not where we're supposed to be. And there is quite a bit of work that needs to be done. And I believe that any executive that will get that done has to be united, not while they are there getting their act together, but should come in united. And that is why I am on the one team.
So no coming in, and then when you come in, you're trying to figure out how you're going to do it, how you should. It should be somebody who has a clear vision of what you come in to pursue.
Exactly.
All right. And I suppose that calls for you being an experienced person, you being, connected with the CSA and staying abreast of what's happening, because I understand a lot of the people who are making those accusations and so on, they don't participate, they don't become involved, they don't really get themselves immersed in the activities and things of the CSA, but they are there. I don't know if it's true, but you hear so many things. Andrew, have you been hearing allegations of unconstitutional actions being taken by the executive of the CSA or unilateral? Now, I'm not asking you to speak against your own team. I'm just saying that, and it's not something today, there's just seemed to be a lot of sniping going around and so on. Have you observed that, and what has been your general reaction to it?
Okay, Shelton and the listeners. There is an organization within the union. You have what is called the General Council.
Okay.
This is members of, you have standalone branches, which are huge branches like Wasco, Lucilec, and these customs and these large branches. So Mr. James would have been on General Council because he is the
shop steward
for customs in the south.
Okay.
Because of my branch is a small branch, so we have small units that will come together and they will choose one.
So when you say you are from infrastructure, you're not from infrastructure as part of the whole ministry, infrastructure as a division?
In the south, yeah.
Okay,
so
because the ministry was the Ministry of Infrastructure, ports, until recently,
yeah.
Port services, transportation, all these things and so on. It's not for the whole ministry that you are the shop steward?
No.
Okay. For the infrastructure
in the south.
In the south,
you have
okay.
Infrastructure in the north, you may have Department of Transport and different things. So
okay.
Transport and infrastructure within our unit comes together. So I would be the shop steward. Then you would have some other small units that would come together. So it gives you, I think, about 66 members on National Council. So that's the second highest decision-making body of the CSA. So the executive will take decisions, and most decisions that have to be ratified, especially when there are decisions that have financial nature and other stuff, very important, that could make a huge difference in CSA. You would have General Council coming together quarterly to sit and take decisions. So I've been around as Mr. James, and we have seen what's going on, and you are in a situation to decipher where these members are going, where they say, because you would have, in any organization, you would have different fractions and different groups. But what I noticed this time around, we have some members that are on General Council, and I know for some reason they do not support the president. Whatever action the president takes, they vote against it. But for me, I come to General Council and I always want to see the best for CSA. No matter who comes up with the decision or the suggestion, as long as it is for CSA and its members, I will support. If I don't feel it's right at the time, I will not support. So some members may have their own views of what transpired, whether they are right or wrong. And you always find that in organizations, they will just give their own views. But you have to see and sit with your members, especially at General Council, to make decisions, take decisions. And members, sometimes there are some members that never attend a meeting, and they hear from a friend, another friend, and they say whatever they hear, whether it's true or not. And these are the things that go outside. So that's why the one team wants to bring everybody together. For instance, one of our main priorities in our 8-point plan in our manifesto is to have a broader, or if you want to put it, a large office in Vieux Fort that can assist the members in the South, Soufrière, and the surrounding areas because a lot of the members are feeling disconnected. They feel they are not getting representation, they are not part of the union, they don't know what's going on, and so on, so on. So the one team has decided, with discussions with the president and the one team, I came up with the idea of we need to represent our members in the South, because I'm from the South and I'm getting that complaint. We need to see a more active interaction with the union and its members in the South. So this is one of the subjects we have taken on board, so that we're going to have an office in the South, so that a member does not have to drive from V4 to Casfies just to get a minor discussion with a shop steward or an industrial relations unit, or one of our senior members in the secretariat. So having that office in the South well manned and functional so that members can interact would have made life easier and better for a member from the South. Because most of them are saying, we didn't hear from the union, we don't know what's going on, and so forth. So this is one of our main points in our 8-point plan for our manifesto. Mr. James was the one who presented the manifesto at our press launch today, so he can give you more insight on the manifesto, but I am more focusing on the building because of my field of work, infrastructure.
Okay. All right. Let's just tell our listeners who are the, I'll say 8-9 people who will be vying for office on the 29th. Let me see, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, yes, 9 people, okay, including the one that you've just heard. Andrew Charles for second vice president. He's being pitched as being experienced, committed, and members focused. All right, and I see a little pitch below his flyer which says 1 voice, 1 executive, 1 union. The other person here with him, Mr. Lyndell James for first vice president, and he's being pitched as one who's rooted in integrity, driven by purpose, fighting for every member. All right, and again, the motto, it seems, of that team that is going up for election as the CSA executive for the next 2 years is 1 voice, 1 executive, 1 union. There is the current president, Tekla Goodman. She's standing up for re-election as president. She's described as being member-focused, member-driven, and she was supposed to have been here today, but she had to attend the meeting in a representative capacity on behalf of some member or members.
Yes.
So we look forward to having Ms. Goodman, because there are some things that I think have been floated about Ms. Goodman, and I have wondered myself, if someone stands seriously and accurately accused of those things, how come I don't hear of calls for her removal? And once you're in any position of leadership, it's something that you almost have to expect, that people are going to be throwing all kind of shade and accusations at you, and I'm sure she would have dealt with them head on, but we'll have another opportunity. The other person is Mr. Malcolm Phillips for trustee, and Mr. Malcolm Phillips is described as being unified, focused, and transparent with members. I can tell you that another trustee who was due to be on this program today but took ill overnight is Miss Cleopatra Anthony. All right, she would have been here with us, but she has been unwell. So, Cleo, I wish you the best for recovery. The person for secretary who's going up for secretary is Monica Joseph, and I think I know this lady. I remember she, from way back, more than 30 years, I think, used to work at the Parliament office back in the day when I was the personal assistant press secretary to Julian Hunt. I interacted with her quite a lot. I believe that is the same face that I'm seeing here. And it says she's focused on details and driven by you. The fact about the details, I can tell you, I know a thing or two about that. And there's Chris Fred for treasurer. He's described as being a treasurer with the experience and passion to deliver. So these are basically, there's Simeon Matherin, who's standing up for assistant treasurer / secretary. He's said to be powered by the membership, driven by unity. And what's that? I see that. Okay. Well, I don't see that right there. Then there's Mary James, another trustee. So we're talking about 3 trustees, I think. 3 trustees. Right.
You're missing the third vice president.
Mary James, who's described as concerned and caring, and who puts members first. And the third vice president, Raphael Kinto Lamontine, for third vice president, bona fide and determined to serve. So these are the people, 9 in all, I think, if my count is correct, who will be standing for election to comprise the CSA executive for the next 2 years. I could have missed 1 or 2, but I think the names that I was given, Cleo sent them to me. She left out herself, though.
She's a trustee.
I know, but I mentioned her. Yeah. But I'm just saying, in these flyers, she didn't include herself.
But then if you look at this team, you would see it's all encompassing. You would see youth, experience, and people who are serious. You have men, women. So it's a comprehensive team we have put together. Because we studied the issues of the union and we want to rectify the issues that are in our union. And we want to put CSA back on the solid footing as the largest union in St. Lucia. We want to put it back on that solid footing it once had. But you must have a team that is committed, like the one team, and a team that is willing to work. A team, as we said earlier, that has ironed out the differences, and a team that has come together to say we want to start work from the inception as soon as we get in. We don't want to be negotiating there and there with members to let's work together. We want to come together as a unifying team to start the work for our members. Because the membership is very important to the one team.
We due for a commercial break right now, but when we come back, we'll continue our discussion. So I just want to prep you all and put you all on notice, Lindell and Andrew, that I'll be asking you all whether there's a chance that you all will be elected unopposed, because I don't hear any kind of competing voices, in the air, and it's like your flyers and so on have done so top flight and so on. So we'll talk about that on the other side of the break. Real issues, and we are speaking with members of the executive headed by Thekla Goodman that will be vying for election for the next 2 years at the CSA meeting that will be held on the Wednesday, the 29th of April, and they're encouraging everybody to make their voices count so that they will have a union that emerges with one voice, one executive, and as a unitary, united entity. Don't go away.
The voice. Your hero is back. Raw facts, no fluff. Shelton Daniel is here to deal with the issues. Real issues. 12:30 p.m. to 2 p.m. Monday to Friday on Real FM.
Stop letting your night be defined by trips to the bathroom. Waking up 3 or 4 times a night isn't just getting older, it's a wake-up call. Reclaim your flow and your freedom with McDowell Prostate Health. Specially formulated for men over 40, our premium herbal formula targets weak flow and frequent interruptions before they sideline your life. Don't just manage the symptoms, stay ahead of them. Get back the confidence of a full night's sleep and the strength of a healthy flow. Feel like yourself again. Pick up McDowell's Prostate Health at Health Services Center, pharmacies, or order online at McDowellProducts.com.
Rediscover your rhythm. Life is meant to be enjoyed. Morning walks, time with loved ones, and moving freely without constant discomfort. But when joint and muscle pain slow you down, even the simple moments can feel like a challenge. That's where McDowell's Pain Complex comes in. Formulated to support joint comfort and mobility, McDowell's Pain Complex helps you get back to the life you love, step by step, day by day. Move easier, feel better, live fully. McDowellsProducts.com. McDowell's Pain Complex. Rediscover your rhythm. Now available at all leading pharmacies and at Health Service Center upstairs the Napa Building on the John Compton Highway.
The voice. Your hero is back. Raw facts, no fluff. Shelton Daniel is here to deal with the issues. Real issues. 12:30 p.m. to 2 p.m. Monday to Friday on Real FM.
A new executive, not necessarily with all new faces, has banded together a team that is pitching for election as the CSA's leadership executive for the next 2 years, and that team is led by the current president, Tekla Goodman, and I tell you they've prepared some really fancy, premium, prestigious-looking flyers and so on as they campaign and they pitch, and you'd have heard a member of that team talking about the manifesto, you know. Oh yeah, manifesto is something you normally associate with political parties, but don't forget that almost all political parties in the Caribbean, at least those that are more than a certain age, they normally grew out of the trade union movement, all right? So when we talk about manifesto, it isn't something that originated with political parties. It probably originated with trade unions, and the political parties adopted them. They embraced it, and they continued with it. And almost all labor parties, they are called labor because they grew out of the labor movement. And so the St. Lucia Civil Service Association, they call themselves one team, and they are speaking with one voice, because they want to be one executive working for one union, the CSA. And Wednesday, April 29th, that will be decided. I have two members of that team in the studio with me, in the person of the man who will be vying for the position of first vice president, Mr. Lindell James. He is from the Customs and Excise Department in the South. And we also have Mr. Andrew Charles, who's from the Department of Infrastructure, also in the South. So it looks like the South is making a very powerful bid, you know, for positions on the union. But I'm sure it's not a geographical-based thing. It's a national-based thing for the St. Lucia Civil Service Association, which represents people. And let me just read something to you. I think it's taken here from the Constitution of the CSA. How come this thing, as soon as I click on it, that's when it decides. Let me see this. Sorry about this, folks. I keep saying I'll bring my laptop. I used to have it before. I keep saying I'll do that, but every time. All right. St. Lucia Civil Service Association. We don't just want to have, and that's from the amended Constitution of 2012, is it? The 2012 amended Constitution. The date that I have on this one is 20th of September 2012. But here it says, the objects to represent and unite all public officers, members of staff of statutory bodies, members of staff of other government agencies, and other workers wheresoever legally and rightfully employed who so choose to enter into a common union. That the CSA can represent people other than those who are employed with government ministries, departments, statutory bodies, public bodies, and so on. Because, you know, there is a process for recognition. I think there's a recognition poll that has to be taken. So if anybody from a supermarket chain, from a hotel chain decide, and some years ago the CSA was representing a particular hotel chain, and we saw the union busting tactics, you know, that they they engaged in to fire people who had chosen the CSA to be their representative, etc. We saw some of that. B, to obtain and maintain just and proper employment and wages, terms and conditions of employment, and generally to protect the interest of members. C, to provide for members legal assistance and legal or other advice where reasonable in connection with their employment. D, to examine, comment on, and promote legislation and regulations affecting the union and or its members. E, to promote and advance the cause of social justice as enunciated in the preamble of the St. Lucia Constitution, Cap 1.01, or any other enactment replacing it, and other international conventions conducive to these objectives. F, to create structures and develop initiatives within the union that will improve and ensure the social, economic, political, and cultural development of members. G, to promote the trade union movement by establishing and maintaining relations and or affiliation with other organizations and trade unions locally, regionally, and internationally. H, to acquire, create, and disseminate information to members and the public. I, to establish, operate, and participate in any legal business venture. J, to regulate relations and settle disputes between 1. Members and employers, members and members, members and other workers by amicable agreements wherever possible, and K, to do all such things that are conducive and beneficial to the good and welfare of members. So Andrew Charles and Lindell James standing up for second vice president and first vice president respectively of the CSA. Those elections will be held on the 29th of this month, the day before the last day of the month, or Wednesday. Gentlemen, how come I'm only hearing about you all? Nobody else is feeling confident or testing to have people to the executive, or they're doing it in a kind of a scattershot kind of way, one person here, one person there. They're not really advertising themselves. Is it that you all have basically, got everybody shaking at the knees or something, or is it that they have a few surprises planned for you that they might just knock you off without making too much noise? Huh?
Well, I think, Shelton, you are hearing about us and seeing us because of our different strategies that we try to put in place. So, for example, this is the first time that a group of persons would present themselves for elections before the elections actually start.
You sure it's the first time? Because I remember back in the days when Mary Isaac and Wilfred Pierre were causing all kinds of confusions. And I think it was realized that only a coordinated, united approach would basically bring them to a stop. That I remember there were people like Yvonne Edwin and Cyprian Montrop and a set of people who gathered together.
But this time around, you actually have a group that has a name that presents itself to the electorate, saying, "Here, if you vote for us, not just the individual, but you vote for the team, that would be better than just voting for different individuals." Because really, the strategy of persons presenting themselves alone, and then hopefully we can get a few persons that we can work with, would not work for now, because like I said, things work on the executive via majority vote. So you would want to ensure that the persons around you that do have the same ideas, ideologies that you are putting forward, which is why we came up with a manifesto even before the election, so we can speak to members and tell members, okay, this is what we are willing to do for you. It's not really just from us, but it is from our members as well, talking to them, seeing what issues they have. That is how the manifesto came about.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
And we are using this manifesto as a yardstick. We tell our members, the one team, this is what we propose to do in our 2-year term. Judge us on this. We are presenting this 8-point plan, and that's what we want to do for you as the members and for ourselves as members of CSA. So we are not just coming and hoping to do things. We have a plan, and we put it out there, the members know the issues, and we are telling them judges based on what we propose to do for you.
Okay, let me ask you this. Before any elections, as we normally hear of elections, there's always accusations of attempts to pad voters list and to do all sorts of things. Who will be eligible to vote in the April 29th elections for that executive? Or is it a case where people can now enroll to be members that you might suddenly have 500 people, applying to become members, and that they'll be eligible to vote so that, people can, you understand, shift the dynamics of counts and so on so that it will go in their favor. Can that be done? Or is there a cut-off date by which you must have been a member of the union before March 30th so that you can vote in this April elections or so on? I mean, how exactly does it work?
Well, you can, as long as you are a member, you can vote.
So Shelton Daniel, who may have been non-financial, Jaquande, who may never
if you are not.
No. You bring everything up to date quickly. You act quickly. You pay up all the dues that are outstanding. You go about, and it's not something we don't know that happens. That you go and you enroll and you register a whole lot of people because you want to be able to move things in your favor for that election.
Let's move it back a bit.
Okay.
You find that persons are discouraged from participating in the activities of the union, including elections.
So rather than people trying to register people who they think will give them that boost in votes, the opposite you're saying is happening.
The opposite is happening.
Wow.
So
strange.
You find that there are persons who are eligible to vote, and then they will tell them, don't get involved in that. The union is not doing anything for you. But really and truly, every member of the union should let their voices be heard. So if you are registered to vote, find out where you're voting, make sure your name is on the list. This is what you need to do.
Shelton Daniel wants to pull off a surprise to, I wouldn't go as high as president, okay? But let's say I want the treasurer position or something like that, assistant secretary treasurer position. If the application fee is not too hot, it's not too high, I go to all different places and branches and so on, and I tell people, are you a member of the CSA? Look, man, fill out this form. I'll pay the application for you, okay? Something is at stake here. I'm prepared to throw some money after it. I'll get you registered. Are you financial? How much financial back dues you have? I'll bring that up to date for you. Now, I'm not saying it's practical. You do everything in order to get people lined up behind you. And sometimes it's a powerful thing just for the fact that you're prepared to pay the application fee for them. You're prepared to pay whatever is due for them to become financial. Sometimes just that alone puts people in your corner. And then on the day of the 29th, it comes up, and out of nowhere, I come and I win a position when I was not known to be active in union business. I was not financial. I was not. But, people throw a lot of money. And a few years ago, a decade ago, it seemed like some money was pumped into the CSA to achieve certain things. I'm just saying, is there anything in the rules? Rendell, you're squinting. I mean, some years ago, some cocoa maca happened in that union. I mean, if you're squinting, you should not be going up because you don't know the history. So
what about talking about the cocoa maca? I'm trying to figure out what the
all right,
cocoa
okay.
is.
It wasn't with you. But I'm just saying, the kind of Jimmy flicks that people can do and so on in processes that depend upon people voting, being registered, being financial and so on. Is there a possibility that somebody might try to pull that off? And the reason I'm asking it, Andrew, is that I just find the other people who might be the competition, they seem to be very quiet. Do they have a trick up their sleeve that you all don't know about?
Well, I don't know. you have to ask them. But let me tell you, Mr. Daniel, there is the Elections Commission. That's CSA members. It's in the Constitution where before the elections they would activate that commission of different members, and they would have formed the election commissions. They would go through a list of members. CSA has over 3,000 members, and I've never heard of an election in recent time where 1,000 members go to vote. I think the largest turnout in recent times was last election when
About over 800.
just over 800.
Wow.
So CSA is a kind of strange organization. Instead of what you are saying,
that's
that
about 25% and so on.
Right.
Instead
so
of-
that's why I'm telling you that it would be more prudent for you to get members to come out over trying to put new members on. And of course, getting new members into the CSC is not just about elections, but the strength of the union depends on its members. So the more people that you have, the more participation you have. Because even if you have members and they do not participate, then you have a problem. So that is why I'm saying what you are talking about, it's more or less the reverse. We have
Opposite.
so many members that are eligible to vote, that can vote and do not vote. And that is what we are trying to do, to get people aware that, hey, some of what you are looking for, look over to the one team. We are going to provide that for you.
Okay.
So you can come out to vote with no fear. Let your voice be heard.
So the same way there is a list for national elections, CSA has a list printed which the election commission would peruse and put names that are members that are not eligible to vote. They would be removed from the list. There are other members.
You're going to vote on the 29th. That list, up to what stage does it close and say, okay, no more is being added until May or whatever it is and so on? Or can people register as CSA members right until the 28th or the 27th or whatever and so on? At what point do you say? Because even in national elections, there is a point where you must have been registered by a certain date or whatever in order for you to be eligible in the polls and so on. Is there a cutoff date there? That's what I think I've been trying to ask.
Well, the cutoff date has passed. I can't remember the date,
Okay,
but
all right,
that
good.
same date would where the election commission would also cut off
All right.
the candidates.
So you must have been eligible to vote by a certain
certain
date
date.
before you can. That's what I've been trying to ask. I'm sorry.
Also, the candidates that want to vie for different positions, there is a cutoff point where they give you a date where
Nominations and so on.
yes, so no one can enter after this date, and then a list is published
Okay.
from the election commission.
Have we reached that date as yet?
Yes, it has
the
passed.
cutoff date, that
So-
was when?
20th.
So nobody else.
20th of March.
No, yes.
Okay, so nobody can be nominated, after
Nominated.
that.
Nobody
Okay.
can be added to the list
All right.
and nothing like that.
Excellent,
So
excellent.
you have a situation. But CSA is a strange organization. Honestly, I said 3,000 members, and you never get 1,000 members to
Okay,
vote. So
okay.
what you are saying, that's what I was saying, the opposite
Yeah.
happened.
What are some of the things that you all have heard or you all know or have experienced that can fire up members to really want to come out? Because I have been involved in organizations, whether we're talking about Lindell the Lapwet Banana Phil Pack Group or whatever it was and so on. You call meetings to discuss regular matters to update people, they don't show up. And one day a field officer told me, you're not getting them to come? Just spread a little rumor. Don't let it back to you that there's been a bubble or something there, you know, or that we want to discuss about paying bonus to people or so on, you know, and you're going to see how people will show up. Now, it turned out to be very true. You know, there was one time myself and another couple members, we gave a little hint that, you know, something was not looking straight, and they made it point at me that there's a receipt book that they can't find, and I had the receipt book and whatever. And that day you should see people coming and, you know, they're looking at you like, you know, today we have you. In the end, let the meeting go, people excite themselves. And I said, you know, there was a receipt book we had problem, but here it is, you know, and so on. And everything died down. Or you tell people refreshments, you know, will be served or something like that, whatever. And people, so I'm just saying, you know, forget about all what I said about the bubble and so on. What are some of the issues that you all know or believe people will be so passionate about that if those issues arise, you'll see them coming out in force? Is there anything at all?
I don't even know. I've been in the CSA for a little while. I think the largest crowd I've seen is there was a particular time when in government negotiation, when I was not on the executive as yet, when the executive was asking members to come in and make a determination as to what percentage increase they would like to see. Although the executive had what they wanted, but they wanted to get from members what they are really looking for. And that was the largest crowd I've seen. Again, also I remember after the Miss Mary Isaac issue, there was some stuff the executive wanted to do, the interim executive wanted to do, there was a large crowd. And these are basically the two occasions that I've seen a large crowd. The Mary Isaac issue and times when the government want to, they have an increase, or members say, I don't want 5%, it we want this and that. That's the only time you see our members coming out.
In other words, there's something to fight about. You understand?
Apart from
People love the prospect of a fight. And it has been noted even in national elections too, that you got low voter turnout anytime people are happy with the government. And that is why a lot of good governments get voted out, because their people will not make the effort to come out like when they want to remove a government. When people want to throw down the government, when a government get them vexed, I mean, they're coming out in force. But if they think things are going all right, things going good, we'll win, win already and so on, and people don't turn out to vote. And that's why I'm asking, what are some of the issues that will stir up people to be more participatory? Because there is a crisis at the national level, constituency level of people turning out. And I'm not too surprised, to hear about this low member response and turnout in the CSA. Maybe things end as bad, they ain't really vexed. There is not something for them to fight about, for them to come out for, So will it be that your executive will need to find ways to stimulate people and stir them up to be more participatory, in the union?
Well, we have this in our manifesto. We want to put CSA back on the map. We want a young person can go to their phone, their tablet, log into CSA, see what's there. We want to give incentives to shop stewards and members from general council so that it would encourage them to take part in their union. It's our union. And I, as a shop steward and someone vying for the second vice president again, I would like to see more members participate in the process. Give your executive, our members feel when an executive is elected. That's all. That's not all. You have to give, as a member of the union, you have to give your ideas, where you want to see our union go, what examples you would want to see, what programs you would want to see, what training programs. And there are lots of things members can give insight to the executive. But for that to happen, the members have to participate because it's a membership organization.
Okay.
So I'm pleading to our members of CSA, come out and vote. Check out the manifestos, check out the people that are going up, vying for different positions, and come out and support. We have the one team. We have given you a slate of candidates. We are a one team. We are together, one full union. State. We have a full state. So we want to work for everybody.
Okay. All right.
And we have put our reputations on the line. And we're asking you to judge us. When you vote for us, judge us on what we supply to you, what we provide to you.
Wonderful.
So we want members to participate. Participating in a union is yours.
Apart from strictly union matters and negotiations and wages and the executive and the general council, what are the activities the CSA have? Do you all have, we might say extracurricular, but sports activities, entertainment, the CSA song contest, the CSA softball competition, interbranch, football, whatever? Do you all have that, or is it something that if it has been allowed to go dormant, that you all will try to revive it? Because these things, they play a part in developing, we might say, kind of organizational camaraderie and bonding and so on when you have them. Is there any of that you can point to?
All these things were there before and they are still there. But members, we have standing committees. We have the youth committee, we have sports, we have finance, we have the building committee. So CSA has sub-branches that you have a small team there that look after sports, after the welfare.
So infrastructure versus customs,
Well, if
whether
our members
it's a small goals or anything like that.
When you have a small number of members participating, it's not possible. That's why we are asking all members to come back again. Then we have a youth. CSA one time had their own Calypso competition. So these are the things that can come back. But for these things to come back, you must get the participation of the members.
But which is the chicken and which is the egg? Because to me, if you have those things, I'm not saying you'll have 100% or not, but you have a small goals competition, a thing down if you fought on a wide stretch of beach or something like that, a cleanup campaign or whatever that you're at least part of, if not spearheading and so on. These things to me will help to bring members together, but maybe what we think is that we need to get the members to turn out first when these things are going to cause them to turn out. A CSA Calypso competition at the cultural center, the white grounds and so on. I mean, it's a chicken and egg situation. Which one will cause the other, and which other will cause the one?
Well, the one team is open to new suggestions.
Thinking about those things.
If our members, that's why I want them to participate. Bring your vision to the table. If you want to see a greater participation in sports, in health, welfare, in whatever, in training, participate. Because we are open to all members, and all ideas that are sent at us are welcome, as long as it benefits our members. We will be.
All right. Someone says on the question of membership, you may want to ask them how workers outside the branches and or collective bargaining units can become members of the union. I think you'll have answered that already. But basically, I think they're quoting from the Constitution that I referenced earlier, and they said, under application for membership, I think it's in section 3 or something like that, application for membership as full members shall be made by submitting the appropriate membership forms, fees, and subscription forms directly or through any shop steward to the General Secretary, who will place them before the Executive Council. 2, the Executive Council shall review the application or applications and make the final determination. The Executive Council may delegate such responsibility to the Administrative Secretariat, who may interview the applicant. Is that correct there, what they've said?
Yes.
There? All right, okay. In addition, you may want to ask them how they intend to ameliorate the problems besetting the union as enunciated by the then President Thekla Goodman in an interview she gave with a journalist. So I don't know what are these problems, but I guess these are things that might take too long to.
Well, I don't even know what the members.
Let me just give you
more specific. I could have answered that.
Let me just give you a readout of what our manifesto looks like. And
so why did you?
I did send you that.
You sent me the manifesto
via WhatsApp. Yes.
I haven't received a WhatsApp from you for a long time. Let me look at that. I've received from.
Okay. So we have a.
Okay, yeah, you sent it to me.
Yeah, we have a 8-point plan manifesto, and we're looking at training and development, compensation for general council members and shop stewards, renovation of the building, communication and outreach, larger office space for members in the South, transparent financials, our medical plan, and also support for retirees.
Okay.
So,
Jaquan, I'm going to send you that to see if we can
so
put it up.
this would speak to basically the issues that are there and how we plan to address them.
Okay.
As a member from the South, we have an office space in the South. But if we're supposed to have a meeting, we don't have enough space in that office to have a meeting. Other than dropping off a form or picking up some correspondence, there's nothing much you can do there. And if you have so many members in the South, for you to actually get them to participate, the office must function to a certain extent where even the executive could come down to View Fort, have a meeting there. You can have a meeting with, if you want to have a meeting with an employer, say for example on a neutral ground, you don't always have to go to the office or try to struggle find office space. So these are some of the issues that we are looking at. The building, like I said, a lot of people remember conventions. I mean, that was the location for most unions to have conventions and workshops and whatever.
All right. Let's take our final break, and when we come back, we'll entertain any calls or messages that people may have. You want to ask any questions, you want to make any suggestions of the two guests here who are vying for election to the CSC executive for the next 2 years. On the 29th, Wednesday the 29th of April, in the persons of the man who is aiming to be the first vice president. Is to the extreme end of my left, That's Mr. Lindell James of the Customs and Excise Department in the south, and also in the middle, Mr. Andrew Charles, who is from the Infrastructure Department of the south, and he is vying to be the second vice president. Real Issues with me, Shelton Daniel. Don't go away. We'll be back to take your calls and messages shortly.
The voice. Your hero is back. Raw facts, no fluff. Shelton Daniel is here to deal with the issues. Real Issues, 12:30 p.m. to 2 p.m. Monday to Friday on Real FM.
Stop letting your night be defined by trips to the bathroom. Waking up 3 or 4 times a night isn't just getting older, it's a wake-up call. Reclaim your flow and your freedom with McDowell Prostate Health. Specially formulated for men over 40, our premium herbal formula targets weak flow and frequent interruptions before they sideline your life. Don't just manage the symptoms, stay ahead of them. Get back the confidence of a full night's sleep and the strength of a healthy flow. Feel like yourself again. Pick up McDowell's Prostate Health at Health Services Center, pharmacies, or order online at McDowellProducts.com.
Rediscover your rhythm. Life is meant to be enjoyed. Morning walks, time with loved ones, and moving freely without constant discomfort. But when joint and muscle pain slow you down, even the simple moments can feel like a challenge. That's where McDowell's Pain Complex comes in. Formulated to support joint comfort and mobility, McDowell's Pain Complex helps you get back to the life you love, step by step, day by day. Move easier, feel better, live fully. McDowellsProducts.com. McDowell's Pain Complex. Rediscover your rhythm. Now available at all leading pharmacies and at Health Service Center upstairs the Napa Building on the John Compton Highway.
The voice. Your hero is back. Raw facts, no fluff. Shelton Daniel is here to deal with the issues. Real Issues, 12:30 p.m. to 2 p.m. Monday to Friday on Real FM.
Okay. Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with the Real Issues on this Wednesday. It is the 8th day of the month of April 2026. I got it right, Jacon? I'm doing okay? I rose from the dead, okay? Easter and so on. Today, if I didn't have guests, I would have talked a bit about the Easter experience and how beautiful it is when I hear people, Christian people, greeting each other with the encouragement of the affirmation, He is risen. And I looked at it just after Easter when a world leader, what you may consider the foremost world leader, is talking about annihilating another country, wiping out a civilization and bombing them back to the Stone Age. But at the same time, they have Easter events and this kind of thing. I looked at all of that. I hope it's good sense that has prevailed. But I'll talk about that. I don't want to in any way have my guest sitting here while I go off on one of my well-known rants. Cornelia Jacob, good afternoon to you. I'm sorry that I didn't reply to you when you checked on me yesterday to find out what was wrong, that I ignored you and so on. But it was one of those occasions where, sometimes you hear the phone ring and you don't really, have, you don't really have, if it's not the energy or the inclination or the volition to take it and so on. At one time I drifted off into a little bit of sleep after struggling with this bellyache, for such a while, and then the phone rang. I couldn't answer it. I heard it, And then when I did respond to it, it was an important call. Yours was probably one of them, but I think I responded to one. So I'm sorry about that. Okay. Like I said, if I had the Shinny 12, I suspect a little short of it would have taken care of that. And she's saying you have to let Lindell know you know him from Mopo. I don't just know him from Mopo, okay? Lindell and I are cousins, by the way. We're related. But for the fact that, like I said, my mother married someone who had the surname Daniel, my surname might well have been either James or Lubin, So a very close kind of blood relation and so on. So to you, I say, take that, move there, girl. When plus famille passe on chi vient l'été tout. Sorti là. Thank you very much, Cornelia. Always one of my very cherished, treasured people. Jaquan with my two guests seated to my left, my usual habit of always looking right to see if a phone call is coming. The mic, of course, you had to use it for other purposes, so we don't have it now to put on the phone. We'll have to see how we work with that. If you're WhatsApp calling us, use this mobile number, 487-9849. That is the number to dial, 487-9849. And of course, our old trusty landline, 4533-911, is the number to dial. All right, so you can call us on either 4533-911 or 487-9849. You can WhatsApp call us. If you have any questions that you want to ask these two gentlemen who will be vying for election to the CSA executive for the next biennium, I think it's called, next 2 years, and that election will be on Wednesday, the 29th of April. They are in the persons of Lindell James, who will be standing for the post of first vice president. The person who's standing for re-election is on the current executive. Her name is Tekla Goodman. She's the current president, and she'll be looking for re-election. And Andrew Charles, who is not presently seeking for a continuous re-election, but he has been second vice president on 2 previous occasions. Now he's coming back hoping to reclaim his old spot. We have a call on the line. Real Issues, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, Shelton. Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Hi, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon.
Okay, first things first. I just want to correct a couple things. Number one, there have been charges brought against the president, and one was successful, and she was found guilty. But there was a vote to remove her as president. They did not have sufficient votes for that to be done. That was done earlier on last year. Okay. All right. Number 2, application for membership. I heard you asking about the cutoff time and that sort of thing. At what point do you cut off eligible members for voting and so forth? I think I'm not sure if there is, because the Constitution does not speak to that. That was after my time. As a matter of fact, I'm Joseph Dorsery, 2-time president of the CSA.
Okay, all right. Hi, welcome. Nice to hear from you.
Okay, and so applications for membership. Anyone who wants to become a member of the CSA must submit an appropriate membership forms, the fees and subscriptions directly to the shop steward or the general secretary, through any shop steward or the general secretary. Okay? Then, upon receipt, you cannot become a member of the CSA if the executive does not approve. The executive application for membership, the executive council must review the application and make the final decision. The executive council can also take a decision when the applications are received and say to the general secretary, I give you the responsibility of making that final decision on our behalf. But the general secretary at the next executive meeting, because he's a member of an ex officio member of the executive by dint of the fact that he holds the general secretaryship of that union, presents a report to the executive meeting, and then that report is approved. Okay?
Okay.
All right. I think there are some well-intentioned people going up for. In fact, I don't think. I know there are some well-intentioned people going up for elections, and I am sure that some of them will do very well for the union. I just want to inform those gentlemen there that based on the history of the CSA and based on the work which was done, we have a piece of property in Viewfort. There were already plans to put up a building in Viewfort with multi-service features. And one of these features was the establishment of a sovereign office. So maybe you gentlemen can take that from there and carry along with it. Now I have major concerns because I have a passion for that CSA, and it bleeds me to see the state the CSA have gotten to. The influence of partisan politics and the influence of selfish motives from individuals. Gentlemen, I have one serious concern because I hear one of you all was or is a member of General Council. I am aware that
they both are members of
okay, they are both members of General Council, right? That on numerous occasions, my brothers, that General Council have been made aware of your present president violating so many sections of the Constitution, financial aspects, the operations of council itself, the operations of the executive itself. During her 2-year tenure, administrative secretariat met on no occasion, and the administrative secretariat is made up of the treasurer, the secretary, the president, who meets to discuss in conjunction with the general secretary of the union, the operations of the secretariat, the industrial relations arm of the union. And not one meeting was convened. Not one during a 2-year tenure. And you're telling me this individual is serious? I have seen proof where the president has encouraged division in the union to the point where even individuals going up for elections now have been learning insults and all sorts of stuff after the members of the union. Okay? Gentlemen, how can you all tell me you're going up as one team under a president who have done that? The most recent is, I was down in St. Lucia recently, and I saw proof where a letter was sent to the government, to the ministry responsible for employment of public servants, recommending people for promotion.
We're getting another call. You've been on for a while, so can you wrap up what you were saying?
Yes. And then the Ministry of the Public Service is responsible for employment of people, not the president of the CSA. Gentlemen, how can you all be serious and tell me you'll follow a leadership that is as rogue and that just...
So is what you are saying factual or is it hearsay?
It's not hearsay, it's factual. It's factual.
Right.
Shelton, it's factual. And I have a problem with people telling me they intend to see that union grow, but they have allowed the rogue president to continue and they will give her another term. It's a painful thing to sit back here and watch.
So the long and short, Mr. Dosser, you would prefer to see someone else become the president of the CSA than for the current one to continue? Is that what you're saying?
I would prefer to see someone else in conjunction with those gentlemen and the group lead this union, not this president. Plain and simple.
Okay, all right.
All right then, cool.
Okay, all right. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. We have another call on the line. Real Issues, you're on the air.
Hello, good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon to you.
I just want to find out from these two gentlemen what they believe that this president will do that she did not do in the last 2 years. She had a whole schedule of things to do and has not achieved anything. Could they explain to us what she has achieved and what is her intention this time around? Because most of the persons she had with her on the team, the last team left her. So I would really like to know what is she bringing to the table this time around? Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Thanks.
I would say
It seems like we've gotten two calls that are both derogatory and disparaging of the current president, those Timmy alone. Yeah.
well, again, Shelton, we can't speak to how things work on the executive. It would seem from both callers that the president is almighty on her own. But if we have to look at the constitution and how things work on a majority vote. So the president cannot go out of control with the other members, either they are not present or how are they voting exactly. And of course, if the track record of the president is such that she has done so much, what were the other executive members doing?
Because
Did they play their role?
You're saying the Constitution provides for persons who exceed the legitimate privilege and so on, for them to be reined in, for them to be okay.
And for the caller who's asking, what are we going to do? We ask you to visit our Facebook page, the One Team Facebook page, and you will see our manifesto there. And of course, you could meet some of the members of the One Team, and we could speak to some of the issues in the manifesto.
Okay, we have another caller on the WhatsApp line. Real Issues, you're on the air. Go ahead. Hello.
Good afternoon.
Hi, how you doing?
Don't ask me that now.
Okay.
You are that? Here's what has me back.
Me hof you hof my laws have already. Mo hot la tell mama ça même parler encore. But go
No,
ahead.
mais aussi poser.
Okay.
Anyhow. So I am baffled. A former president served 2 terms, says that he has proof of wrongdoings of the current president, does nothing regarding that, advises no one regarding that, but chooses now to speak about it in public, gives his name and everything while disparaging the lady's character. And essentially he's saying, because apparently these 2 gentlemen in your studio at the moment are on the current executive, right?
No, they're not. They're not
Oh,
on the
they're
current.
not yet.
They are members of what is called the General Council, yeah, because they are shop stewards
General Council.
of the respective sections in which they work, namely Customs and Excise South and Department of Infrastructure South.
Okay, cool. But nobody has challenged the lady on the accusations or whatever they believe is not or is going on or has not been working. Nobody. And they choose now to bring it up, to raise it. Doesn't that sound a bit ish for me?
A bit what?
A bit ish.
Ish, I don't know what ish is. Ish, I know is child. Ish, my.
Childish. Whatever other issue you want to add to that, because if all of those things are wrong with this lady, is there a challenger to her position?
But if it's Mr. Dorsey who identified himself you're referring to the best of my knowledge, Mr. Dorsey has been based out of St. Lucia for many years now. He's been working, I think, in Bermuda for some time. So I don't know, as we say, on the ground, what's his connection that he's so sure of what he's saying. I expected today that I would have had Miss Goodman on the program. She's not there. I thought about what he was saying, whether I should cut it off, but then I figured, show transparency that you are not sticking up and protecting anybody and so on. And I believe Miss Goodman is going to, if not on this program, but we will have access to her to ask her about those things, because so many things have been thrown.
Miss Goodman better show up so that she can clarify. I'm not a member of CSA and that kind of thing. But then since I'm here, does CSA only represent persons who work with the civil service?
No. We clarified that. We clarified that already. In fact, during Mr. Dosseri's tenure as president, CSA was representing Sandals employees. And I think there was a situation where whatever it was, they voted whether to take strike action or for recognition and so on, and that almost 150 members of CSA were dismissed by Sandals. That became one of the sticking points. It said that Butch Stewart actually came to St. Lucia to oversee the firing, of the workers and so on. So anywhere where people legitimately express their preference for the CSA as their bargaining agent or representative, and a proper poll is conducted, which would be overseen by the Department of Labor, etc., then any union can gain recognition. I think one time the CSA was representing employees of Lucilec, which is not an arm of the state, and I think they still do, represent. So it is a whole matter of the process that is followed, and once workers by majority determine that they want any union, CSA, NW, whatever, to be their bargaining agent and representative, then they can get that recognition and represent them. It's not limited. No.
Okay, so just permit me a little moment to first demonstrate this. I find it suspicious and convenient that Cleopatra falls sick last night and she can't be here today. She knew I was going to call. Good afternoon, Mr. James. Good afternoon, Mr. Charles. And enjoy the rest.
Why would Cleopatra try to dodge you? She also is aware of what a dangerous person you are.
Yes.
Okay. All
and
right.
she know I don't like her.
Okay. Okay, no atanasi. O hofmo hotla umem. Sorti laman. Thank you very much for your call. Appreciate it. All right. Where was she? She was on the WhatsApp line. Okay. Real issues. We still have time to take a couple of your calls, and if you care to make them, 487-9849, the number that Cornelia Jacob was just on there, and earlier on we had a call on the landline. And that number is 4533-911. Gentlemen, we are rapidly running out of time, so anything maybe that you all came ready to talk about that perhaps we didn't have time going to, now is your time.
Well, Shelton, I was just going to piggyback on what the two callers previous said about the president having to do, and to go back to what Cornelia was saying, I don't think the CSC got to where it was within just the last administration. I think there were issues that goes way before, and let's be serious. Now would be a good time if the president is going to face the electorate again to speak to whether she has done this and that against members. I don't expect everybody to agree with what the president, but here we are putting up a team and saying that the president cannot do everything by herself. So we're asking members again to come out, participate. I think Mr. Doxury highlighted the fact that there was not much participation from other executive members, or they sat there and did nothing. So we're asking our members to come out and vote. Come out and let your voices be heard. Get on general council so issues like that do not come up again.
Okay. We have a caller holding on the line. Let's take that call. It probably will be our last. Real issues, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hello, good afternoon, and how are you?
Doing okay. And you?
Good afternoon to your guests.
Good afternoon.
I called to tell Mr. Charles good luck. Wax, this is Glenda. I'm wishing you good luck.
Yeah, Glenda, we heard you. Go ahead. Don't let your own feedback put you off.
I tell Mr. Charles.
Thank you very much.
And that's it.
Okay.
I know you'll be able to do a good job.
I'll do my best at all times.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Glenda. Okay. Earlier on, we had a customs officer. Her name is Arlette Marshall, who was saying that we're not on the TV. A movie was on. I suppose that's a good while back, since a little before 1. So I suppose that's been resolved now. And she said to tell Mr. James that Arlette, his colleague, wishes him well. Okay.
Thank you, Arlette.
She's a regular listener to and follower of this program. Are we getting another call? Or? All right. Andrew, you were going to say something.
Oh, okay, Mr. Daniela. You have an executive. Mm-hmm. It comprises basically of 7 individuals that can vote. We have the president, first, second, third vice, secretary, assistant secretary, and the treasurer. Any decision that has to be taken must get a majority vote.
And the majority is what?
Any 4 members that vote on that can.
Any of those 4
members, yeah, these 4 members.
Say the positions again. President, first, second, third vice, so that's 4.
You have the secretary, you have the assistant secretary, treasurer, and the treasurer. So that's the 7.
So that's 3, okay? So the 4 that you mentioned, the 4 of them would be the majority.
Yes, any 4 can vote on the matter. For when members or individuals say certain things about the president does this and the president does that, I'm trying to wonder, how does this happen?
But there has to be a dereliction of duty by some people to allow a president to get through with the things.
Definitely.
That some of them are alleged.
And after an executive meeting, there is what you call a decision sheet. For instance, if the president says, let's spend $10 million on X, a decision must be taken from a vote, and it is sent to the general secretary for onward processing.
Okay.
So, for the president to be, as Mr. Duxbury said, spending money and he has the evidence, I am finding that a bit.
And I suppose if that ever
strange.
did happen, these are some of the things that people like yourself and Lindell will be committed to ensuring that it does not happen. All right?
As I said, I'm for CSA. I am here to make sure that everything goes well with CSA, and that under my tenure, none of these things will happen.
Okay.
There may be instances.
We got to go, Andrew. We got to go. Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Andrew Charles and Lindell James.
Thank you, Shelton.
Members of the team that is vying for election to comprise the new executive we have to run now. Bye.
The daily draw of Wednesday, 8th April 2026 will double daily grand 1, 17, 19, 20. Big 4, 7708. The Big 4 multi-X ball drawn is 2X. Big 2, 1, 7. The Big 2 multi-X ball drawn is 2X. 1 off, 9, 8, 4. Lucky 3, 3, 5, 1. The Lucky 3 multi-X ball drawn is 2X.
The man, the voice, Your hero is back. Raw facts, no fluffs. Shelton Daniel is here to deal with the issues. Real issues. 12:30 p.m. to 2 p.m. Monday to Friday on Real FM.